So welcome back to the channel, guys, in another chess video. And today's game is going to be different because in this game I sacrificed the wrong knight but still got the correct result. And yeah, it was a Scandinavian game initially that got transformed into an advanced Caro-Kann, and I had the black pieces. You know, Caro-Kann has recently become one of my favorite openings, and I personally think that Caro-Kann Advance is sort of like London but with black. You know, similar pyramid structure, similar bishop placement, you know. But without any further ado, let's begin. So in this game I played with the accuracy of 87.8, and in this game I had the black pieces, and the game opened up with pawn to e4, and pawn to e4, yeah, and I replied with d5, and this is the Scandinavian defense I was going for. But as soon as e5 was played, I quickly played bishop to f5 because I wanted to take this into a Caro-Kann advanced type of position. d4, and now we have e6, solid. Bishop d3, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, and now I played queen to d7. And yeah, I was thinking of playing c5 right away, but I was, sort of afraid of any queen to b5 ideas. And after the knight was developed, I went for c5, c3, and now I played knight to c6, a3, and now I pushed c4, gaining space on the queen side, queen to c2, and now I played a6, castles, knight g to e7, b4, b5, a4, queen to b7, a bunch of inaccuracies by both sides, h3, and now I played g6, which is a mistake, and it's nearly +1 for white. And knight to g5 was played, which is a miss, and the best move according to computer was knight to h2. Anyway, I played bishop to g7, f1, and I castled short. And now a5 which is the best move because it completely closes the queen side and my hopes of gaining any counterplay on the queen side. And in this game I was hungry for counterplay. So first I played h6, knight f3, and now I played knight to f5, although f6 was the best move. Anyway, knight to h2 was played, which was a mistake, because here comes queen to a7, and I am threatening the knight sacrifice in the center to fork the king and the rook with my queen. That's why rook to a2 was played, which was even a big blunder, because here comes a move knight f takes on d4, which is the right knight to sacrifice, but I sacrificed the wrong knight, and instead of knight f takes d4 I played knight c takes d4, and it's only -1.11 for black. However, in the case of knight f takes d4 it was -2.46. Anyway, after c takes d4 I played knight takes d4. Now, what do I have in compensation for the sacrificed piece? First thing we can see is that I have two connected passed pawns, namely the d5 pawn and the c4 pawn, and I am going to push them to win the game because I'm already down a piece. And in this position, after queen f2 I played the only good move, knight to c6. Now you might ask, why did you trade queens when you are down material? Well, in some instances, we can trade queens despite being down material. You know, sometimes to stop a immediate mating attack, sometimes to stop opponent's attack and counterplay what they could have created if the queens had been on the board. So we trade the queens. Queen takes and rook takes a7. And still I am better. It's still minus 1.11 for black. Why? Because the knight and bishop, white's knight and bishop are sort of sleeping. White's knight on h2 is doing nothing. Well, my bishop on g7 is passive, but I can quickly activate it by moving the rook and bishop to f8. Simple idea. Anyway, rook to b2 was played to defend the backward b4 pawn, which is a big weakness in white's camp. And now I played rook to d8, just a good move, trying to push my past pawns. But more importantly than that is bishop to f8. Knight to g4 was played, and now I played bishop f8. And in this position, bishop f8 turns out to be a mistake. And the advantage went from minus 1.3 to minus 0.5. What's wrong with it? Well, apparently I had to push d4 in this position. Anyway, bishop to e3 was played, which is a miss. Why is it a miss? Because bishop to e3 comes with an attack on the rook, but I can counter it by d4, which is what I played. d4 bishop f2, and now I played bishop takes b4, and now I'm winning. Because even though I lost my h6 pawn, I won b4 and h6 pawn, a5 pawns. Knight to h3 is on the board, and now I played rook a2 a8, just making sure that both my rooks are defended, so white cannot play any tactics, any sort of pin tactics. When your rook is undefended, opponent takes a pawn, and then you realize your rook is undefended, you cannot take that. I didn't want any of that stuff to happen, so that's why I played rook a2 a8. Rook c1 is on the board, and now I played knight b4, which is a mistake, and in this position I had to go c3. Anyway, rook to d1, and now I played d3. Yeah, my pawns are just marching forward. Bishop to e1, and look at this, guys. Knight to b6, bishop to b6, check first check, and once the king moved, knight to d5. Look at this beautiful knight on the d5 outpost. And the only way to get rid of this knight is to play something like knight to f6. But anyway, opponent played knight takes on c4, which is an inaccuracy, and I'm even more winning than I was before this move. Like before knight takes c4, it was minus 2.98. Now it's minus 4.15. Because you not only have you given up a piece, but you are down to full pawns. So I accepted the sacrifice back gleefully, because I knew I would be completely winning in that position. My beautiful pawns on c4 and d3 are not allowing white to do anything. Bishop to f6, knight to f6 is on the board. The better move was bishop to h4 to attack the rook on d8. But anyway, first I played bishop to d4, which is the best move, gaining tempo on the rook. And once the rook moved, knights, I traded the knights and gained a pawn as well, another pawn. And it's -5 now, because I am up 3 full pawns, and white has no compensation. White tried rook c7, and now I played rook a2 c8, which was the best move. Rook a7, and now I pushed c3. Rook takes a6 was met by c2. rook c1, and now I played d2, and giving away the bishop is forced. So bishop takes d2, and now I played rook takes d2. Rook to a2 was played, but now simply rook to c3, and king to h1 was played. And it was in this position on move 44 that my opponent resigned the game. Well, what was the reason behind the resignation? Well, here comes the move. Rook to d1 check, and yeah, it's best you have to take the rook. And now I am promoting into a queen, and you are doomed. You are doomed. White has no counterplay, and white is going to get checkmate in a couple of moves from now. But oh, what a beautiful position this is, guys. So I sacrificed my knight in the opening or early middle game stage, and when in the position that my opponent resigned, I was up a piece, so I started being down a piece. But in the final position, I ended being up a piece and a pawn, a really strong pawn. Not a 1 point pawn, but I can say that it was a 4 or even a 5 point pawn. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.